I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar today. I also want to thank everyone for taking the time to join us this afternoon. Like Ashley said, I am Kim Rosalind. I'm the SVP of Marketing here at PRN, and I will be your moderator for today. And just to reiterate, feel free to submit questions at any time during the conversation, and I will do my best to address them if time permits. So our goal for today is really to just have an informal conversation regarding some common questions that we often see during the acquisition partnership process, but also to kind of get to know some of the main and key members of our leadership team. I also wanted to do just a really quick overview of PRN, if some of you on the call aren't familiar with us. So we were founded in 1991. We're a privately held physical therapy provider and a comprehensive practice management organization providing non-clinical administrative support services to physical therapists across 15 states in the western and central portions of the U.S. We're headquartered in Carlsbad, California, and we are known for leading value-driven practice management services and innovative outcomes-driven physical therapy care model. Sorry, that was a mouthful. So we've been around for quite a bit, and we've had a lot of growth in the last couple of years. So that's what we're here to talk about today, is how you guys could potentially partner with us and to learn more about our offerings and to learn more about that sell process. So I'd like to start today with introducing today's panel. So first we have Ajay Gupta, PRN's Chief Executive Officer. Ajay's been a healthcare executive for over 20 years. He's had the opportunity to lead, manage, and grow many facets of healthcare, such as for-profit health systems, multi-specialty physician practice management, and post-acute care. Ajay has been the acting CEO of PRN for over 2 years now. We also have Mike Rice, our Chief Growth Officer. Mike also has over 20 years of experience in healthcare, which he's held senior leadership roles in both development and operations. He directs PRN's development activities by targeting de novo opportunities and acquisitions through its partnership-based model with our therapists. And then we have our lone operator on the call, Sean McKeown. He's a 25-year veteran. Sean, being a former clinician, is credentialed from the McKenzie Institute and trained in active release technique. A PRN clinician turned partner, he is now the regional director of operations for our San Diego market, but will soon be transitioning into assisting acquisition operations integration. So thank you guys for joining us today. And we're just going to jump right in because we have a lot to talk about. So let's start the conversation. Ajay, we're going to start with you. So physical therapy is obviously a hyper-competitive space. And private practice owners, have a ton of choice when choosing a PT company to potentially partner with. So my question to you today is, can you talk to us a little bit about PRN and what makes PRN different? And why should private practice owners consider partnering with us versus other companies?
Thanks, Kim. Thanks for hosting the panel today, first and foremost. Look, great question to lead off with. I'd say, PRN, how are we different? And as you referenced, we've, 30 years experience and really the foundation and the backbone of PRN has really been an advocate for the independent PT practices. We've grown and been fortunate to grow our company with aligning and joint venturing with practices all over, across 15 states at this point, and in the local communities in the West and Central. And the key piece there, and the overarching theme, is how do we partner with founders and truly, understand better what they've done over the years, been successful, and align that with PRN. And so we're a brand of brands, unlike others in the field, and really cherish the value of a local brand. Healthcare is local, as we all know, and value around how to really grow and develop what a founder has done in that local community. So I think that's first and foremost, is trying to keep sort of the authenticity of a practice and really develop it with a founder. Second piece to that is really just our commitment to staff development. We've been fortunate to have tremendous teammates and colleagues, PTs, that have joined us as students, have gone on to join us as staff PTs. And from there, professionally and personally, had the desire to grow, be a clinic leader, be a clinic director, and even, the chance to be an owner, right? With Mike's leadership and the team, positioning markets and growth for a PT to truly have a chance to be an owner, right? That's something so unique in this marketplace. And as you think about, choices and what to do in terms of being a PT and your growth progression. So not only being an owner, but even the chance to progress up in leadership roles. And Sean can talk more about his background, but the chance of being a PT, being an owner, and then also being an active clinical leader across the organization. And so just the overall career dimension of joining PRN, the PRN family, and the opportunities for growth, development, and maintaining some, authenticity of what a founder did in their, early days of creating a practice and running for so many years. And probably the third piece I'd say to round that out is just our progressive care model. We all know the complexities of healthcare, the regulatory changes, the ongoing annual cycle of CMS, the consolidation of health systems, referral sources, employment of physicians with health systems and different health plans, and just the turbulence of how to manage in this environment. And PRN as an organization is committed in investing in infrastructure, aligning in markets, and we've been successful at working with different health plans and medical groups in creating and developing with our clinician leaders different value-based, different risk models to incorporate into network design. We've also been fortunate to align with different health systems in partnerships and joint ventures. But at the end of the day, trying to think about the patient first, right? How do we really think about a care continuum that our patients are going to value in terms of access to rehab, access to the right specialty care when they need it? And so I think those are probably three overarching characteristics that differentiate PRN from others in the field today.
No, that's a great answer. And you talked a lot about values. So you talked about what the patient values, what these, private practice owners value when they're growing their clinics. So I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. So obviously our culture and our values are a very important part of who PRN is. And because of that, PRN was the only PT company recently recognized by Glassdoor as a top 50 places to work. So it brings up a question about those values and culture. How important or maybe challenging is it to blend the PRN culture and values into partnerships or acquisitions without undermining the culture and values that, these private practice owners have built over, years and years of practicing in their communities?
Yeah, another great question as a follow-up. So first and foremost, can't be more proud of the PRN team, the leadership, our communities, and the recognition from Glassdoor. It was something that we were, humble and surprised to get from Glassdoor. I mean, in terms of, thinking about our development, our culture is critical, it's critical of how we think every day. So it was just a nice, accolade to get from Glassdoor this past year, especially given the past year that we've all been through. In terms of how do we think about culture, I think that's part of the fun, right? I mean, I think that's part of the unique aspects of PRN that's different, right? We're not going to come in with a corporate mandate of certain things to change and align with a partner that's going to be disruptive, right? We want nothing more than to, understand, listen, really recognize what's made this independent PT practice and partner successful over the years, and really evolve it to where they now have access to the family of PRN, a family of what we're doing, how we're thinking in our communities, things that have worked well. How are we thinking about diversity and inclusion? What are we doing in terms of different employee advisory committees, and really incorporate and think about those things over the short and long run, right? So it's almost a menu of options that allows a independent practice to understand better what we're doing and how we're doing it. And to me, there's some short-term things that could be some immediate wins for their employees and their staff, from medical benefits and other areas that are, opportunities given scale and size that can be complementary and help. And then other things, just to me, it's just over time evolves with how they get integrated into PRN and how we value each other in terms of the overall organization.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Yeah. That very informative. And I'd like to piggyback off of something you said and transition over to Mike. So, Mike, AJ talked a lot about what PRN looks for in finding the right partner. But what do you think, private practice owners who are looking to sell, what do you think they should look for in finding the right partner? With so much choice out there and so many companies offering them, an ability to partner with them.
Great question, Kim, and something I get asked a lot. We're definitely cognizant of current practice owners today are at times it feels like bombarded because there is a lot of people trying to talk to them and have discussions. Really when it comes to finding the right partner, my belief and not only talking to potential partners, but personally is, at the very top level, there has to be alignment. There has to be alignment strategically, philosophically, culturally. You look at short-term goals, long-term goals. So all of those things, I think there has to be alignment. And you're not going to know about those until you start to have discussions with potential sellers. I also think that, the foundation of any good partnership, any good relationship is going to be communication. And so I think one of the things that PRN has really done a good job at is communicating with our partners. And it really starts early on in the process as we begin the dialogue about a potential partnership. It's really, what are the strategic goals? What are you looking to do in the next year, in the next 5 years, and to make sure that there is alignment. So communication is absolutely critical. A couple of the other things I think that are important is, one size doesn't fit all for everybody. And I think one of the things that PRN does exceptionally well is they do bring a little bit of flexibility when it comes to structuring the right type of partnership at that local level. What we try to do is structure things so that we give the local partner and the local team the best chance of success. And at times it's not only when we close on a transaction, but one of the things that I love to do is grow. And so sometimes we partner with somebody, we wind up growing their footprint. And based on our flexibility, we have the opportunity for their staff to grow. And AJ mentioned that a bit. But we have seen employees of partners wind up becoming owners in future clinics, which I think is phenomenal. And I think the last point that really I think is a good differentiating point, and it's something that I know is extremely important to all the people that I talk to on a routine basis, is our company is structured from an operational standpoint where we have the benefit of having Sean on. But that's the norm. Most of our operational leadership, from our chief operating officer down, are physical therapists who used to work in a clinic, own a clinic, run a clinic, and they understand from a physical therapist perspective what it's like to operate. And I think having that as a partner is extremely important. And I've heard that throughout the years as well.
So you mentioned, private practice owners can sometimes feel like they're bombarded, right, with options. And I think a question we get a lot during this process is, when is the right time to sell your practice?
Another good question. I get asked that quite a bit. The unfortunate answer is it's going to be a little different for everybody. There is no one size fits all when it comes to the exact right time to sell the practice. Just as an example, everybody's at a different stage in their career. And so somebody who's 40 or 50 or 60 are all going to have different attributes that are going to contribute to that decision. One thing I can say definitively is today or tomorrow is the right time to actually start exploring the process. One of the things that I hear routinely from our partners that have gone through the process is it wasn't until they actually started to have discussions did they realize really what was the couple, 2, 3, 4 things that were extremely important to them. The other things, while they mattered, they weren't the end all, the be all. And it really was a couple. And you're not going to know that until you start, having discussions, exploring really what you want to do, what your goals are, see if you're aligned. One of the old things is, the best decision is an educated decision. So I have discussions all the time routinely. And so I would encourage everybody, start the process. It doesn't have to be time intensive. It doesn't have to be to a point where there isn't confidentiality around it, but I encourage everybody to start exploring their options.
So let me touch a little bit on that. So you're having these discussions with potential sellers, they're exploring the process. What are some of the misconceptions that you have found, through this process that you could share with everybody on the call?
Yeah, there are a lot of misconceptions, and sometimes the rumors they become they become the law in people's minds and in reality. But there's a lot of them. But I would say there's probably two, and I just kind of touched on one. But confidentiality is extremely important, and everybody's actually one of the reasons why people are afraid to send an email or pick up the phone and talk to people is they're afraid as soon as they do that, their staff are going to find out. The community is going to find out, the referral sources are going to find out. So when I talk about misconceptions, I can't speak on behalf of the industry, and I can obviously speak on behalf of other companies. So I'll take it from our perspective. We have initial discussions all the time, and rest assured, those are held in the strictest of confidence. The other piece is that eventually we will put a non-disclosure agreement in place. But rest assured that confidentiality is kept to its highest level. The other piece that is, probably actually one of the biggest is everybody looks as their staff as an extension of their family, and we understand that. I think we're a phenomenal place to work, as you alluded to. We just were the recipient of the Glassdoor Award, which was great, but every practice owner loves their staff, and they want to make sure that they're taken care of. And that's, so one of the misconceptions that they always have is, the day after close, everybody's going to get fired. We're going to bring in a totally new staff, or people's hours are going to change, or their compensation is going to change. And so the list goes on, productivity concerns. So those are things that we talk to early on. But we try to build upon all the practice owner success. They've been working in their practice for a lot of years, have had a lot of success. And really it's been because they probably have a phenomenal staff. So we're looking to help them mentor, grow, and create opportunities for their staff.
That gives me a great opportunity to now transition over to Sean. Let's talk a little bit about operations. Mike, you had mentioned it is important to take care of our clinical staff, and it is important to set up our clinicians for success. And there's a lot that goes into that, right? So Sean, you're the longest tenured member and the only operator of PRN on this panel. So I'd love to hear your thoughts around, how does PRN really support what matters most to therapists? Because what matters to them is different than us sitting in the corporate headquarters. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've been practicing for over 30 years and with PRN for 25 of those. So it kind of speaks to that it's a company that I truly believe in. And as kind of Ajay was talking about, some of the culture aspects of things, it's about the people and the care of the patients and allowing the clinicians to treat the way they want to treat the patient. And it's about providing the best that we can be for the patients. It's a strong people culture oriented company. And Ajay and the executive team work hard to nurture and grow that culture. And like Ajay alluded to also, it's a family. We're about taking care of everybody. PRN has a great educational support for the clinicians. And I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of clinicians as they're joining the network kind of look to and are interested in. There's, again, strong educational support to kind of continuing education for the staff. We have a great Con Ed, continuing education reimbursement program. It allows the funds to even be allocated towards the APTA membership and licensure reimbursement. Big thing that we do with our EHR system is we have MedBridge out of that. And MedBridge having a kind of a membership, so to speak, for each of the clinicians with the membership, this allows the clinicians access to a vast amount of courses and education at no cost, no further cost to them. So that's even in addition to their reimbursement program. The focus really of the company is always about supporting the therapist and to be at the top of their clinical knowledge, because again, that helps create the best care and cutting edge care for the patients. It's as again, Mike is alluding to, is PRN has been supportive of the clinician and the independence of the way they provide care. We're not coming in to change the way they do things, not the way that they, like Mike was saying, we're coming in because and joining them as a partner or part of the family because of how they've been practicing and the success that they've had. There's certain parameters that we look at to allow them to become part of PRN, and we want to nurture that and strengthen that and kind of add to that. there's there's again supportive and independence the way they provide, and the big thing that I see is it creates diversity in the way that the patients seek care and what we have to provide. We don't have cookie cutter programs that patients must fit into. It allows individuality of the way that we want to practice. It allows me as a clinician in my area where I've got a multitude of facilities to draw on other clinicians that have specific areas of specialty that are greater than mine, again, to create and provide what's best for the patient. It's just it's strong.
So talk to me a little bit, Sean, about you have gotten all this support, right, that you're speaking about, and you've been here for 25 years. We actually have a question from the audience. Can you talk a little bit about your growth trajectory with the company and how you started as a clinician and now you're sitting here as one of the top leaders in the organization? And I know AJ and Mike, you both have mentioned that there's so much, we are a growing company and we have all this opportunity to grow. And so talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, I've been a PT for over 30 years, and I started with PRN in 1996 as a center director of the second PRN facility. And as AJ said, we're growing fast. I've been through multiple center director roles within the San Diego market, at times overseeing 2 to even 3 facilities. Eventually had the opportunity to become a partner in the Mission Valley facility back in 2016. And in 2019, I was promoted to the regional director of operations within San Diego. I still remain treating in the Mission Valley facility because I love patient care. Great. And enjoy working with patients. And again, I think as you're going out and training, going into my new role, it's important to still have that patient touch and feel, and obviously it's important to me. As again, I think Mike and AJ spoke to, is the nice thing is that the regional and the area VPs are physical therapists. So as they come in, and that's even when they were working with me, it's been very strong because again, I know that they know what I'm doing and know how the practice operates. And so again, that's been incredibly strong. And that's what we're trying to do as we come into these facilities, is to kind of share our practices and grow and enhance.
No, that's fantastic. And thank you so much. So we are getting quite a few questions from the field. So this one is for AJ, actually. We're talking about a lot of support for clinicians. Can you talk a little bit about, in the past few years, some of the changes that PRN has made from our corporate infrastructure to help support our growth and to help support these clinicians in the way that Sean was just talking about?
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Great question from the audience. I'd say it's a continuous investment. So over the last several years, we've really been fortunate to recruit some great talent to the organization and really build out areas this organization hasn't had previously or was outsourced, and really bring in-house functions, including, Kim, the entire team you've built out across digital marketing and PR and communications and education. We've enhanced our education department with a true someone coming in with a deep experience and how we can evolve and really provide not only clinical education, as Sean alluded to, but just professional education, almost a PRN MBA, to kind of help think about running a business and how to build out the acumen to be successful, right? It's tough moving from being a clinician into also having HR responsibilities and having a team you're managing in a clinic, and we want folks to be successful, right? And that takes continuous investment in terms of just investing in the team and investing in education for them, and several other areas. It's something we're committed to, right? Our jobs from the corporate office is to provide, support our clinics, allow our partners to focus on what they enjoy doing, which is clinical care, right? They've been successful and probably wearing a lot of hats coming to PRN family, right? In terms of being the CEO of their practice, running their practice, being the PT. And for our success, their success, we want them to reduce the administrative aspects of running a clinic, put that on us and the team to really think about growth levers, develop out, just the practice itself, enhance it in terms of look and feel and the patient experience. And those are some key areas that we continue to invest in terms of, folks joining the team and also just infrastructure growth across the organization.
Thank you. Fantastic. So Mike, to kind of go off of what Ajay said, do you feel like when people come to you and they're, they want to sell, how important is that corporate support, and that they may just want to remain treating, or maybe they want to step out but still only manage? Do you talk to me a little bit about that part of the conversation and ensuring that we can provide them the support they're looking for?
Sure. Good question, Kim. And it's funny. One of the common things I hear when I have dialogue with future partners or sellers is they became a physical therapist and ultimately decided to open their own clinic because they really wanted the opportunity to ensure that their patients were getting just phenomenal care, great outcomes. They wanted the opportunity to mentor, grow their staff. And they wanted to have market share. And sometimes they were ambitious enough to maybe open that second clinic or even a third clinic. What they probably, and this is what I hear a lot, what they didn't really think about a lot is dealing with HR issues, dealing with recruitment, dealing with credentialing, dealing with insurance and contracts. And 10 years ago, what exactly is digital marketing and what do I need to do about it? So there's just a whole plethora of things that really kind of take the fun out of being an owner. And so one of the things that I think is great about being part of PRN is that we're fully supportive of all of those back office operations. And we really do allow our partners and our center directors to really focus on the things that they're passionate about, as I just talked about: outcomes, staff, and growth. And those are the things that are fun. That's what I hear a lot, is that I used to have fun, and now it seems like I'm always bogged down dealing with an insurance issue, dealing with an HR issue, dealing with a billing issue. And so it's almost a breath of fresh air, post close, and once we're able to integrate. And lately with Sean's leadership on the integration side, things have gone exceptionally well. And so, yeah, it's almost liberating. I think that's the right word to use, because it's really been liberating for our partners to really focus on the things that they're passionate about.
Kendall, let me add on just a few things. I mean, I think Mike said it well. I think ultimately they got a partner that they can call, right? I think when you're running your own business and you're working weekends and nights and you realize, hey, I may not know what to do, or, I think I know what to do, or, we all Google everything and try to research ourselves, right? Because there's access to information, but ultimately now they have a broader, corporate infrastructure, support in the market, right? Or even colleagues in other states that are really part of an alignment that truly help, right? Or there as advocates and not only sort of the regional management, but other PT owners and partners, right? So I think it's just a support, and it's just a community of what PRN is across our family of brands that are there to help.
So final question for the group, and maybe Mike, I'll ask you, and then Sean and Ajay, feel free to weigh in. Growth is obviously a big part of, private practice owners selling their clinics. But what if I'm a private practice owner, and this is a question from the audience, and they don't necessarily, they want to sell, but they want to sell because they want to grow. So Mike, maybe you can kick it off, and then Ajay and Sean, feel free to weigh in. How do you feel PRN supports those owners who are, hungry and just maybe need some support to help grow their footprint?
Sure. Great question. There are a lot of our partners that really want to grow, but they realize, as they maybe open a second clinic or are thinking about opening a second clinic, it's overwhelming. There are a lot of things to do when it comes to growing not only market share, which I think we help, a tremendous amount on. And actually, Kim, you could speak to that just on all the things that we're doing on the marketing side. But really, when it comes to growing the footprint, we take care of all those things. We take care of it. From things such as site selection, where is the best place to do that, negotiating with landlords, doing the build out, getting the equipment, and there's also the opportunity to find that new potential partner there too, and it might be one of the existing staff. So all of those things that we do on a daily basis. We've already opened 4 to 5 clinics this year. we'll open at least another 15 this year. So we're in a high growth mode. We have a lot of people to support our partners, and development is just really only one facet of it, but we do it on a routine basis.
And AJ, if you maybe want to weigh in on that, how important is it that we partner with people who, you know, understand growth or who want to grow their footprint?
Look, that's the exciting piece, Kim. I think opening your first clinic is extremely hard, right? Everything's sort of a new learning when you're opening a new practice. Second one, at least you have some good learnings that you can incorporate and best practices, and quite frankly, you know, learning the hard way, right? But then going from there and still kind of maintaining a culture and growth and scaling a practice and a company gets harder and harder, right? And so we cherish and value nothing more than a growth-oriented partner that you know, wants to come in and recognize it in terms of what they're looking for. And you know, they should go through a process, right? I mean, they should go through a process of understanding PRN, understanding why other partners have joined us, what's been success after they joined PRN, did some of their short-term goals and alignment around growth and development really translate, right? And we'd love to share that story, right? I mean, because we have some tremendous you know, markets and partners that have been able to join the organization and really grow their, you know, professions and careers and, you know, quite frankly, their markets that they're in. And so that's to me is an exciting component of an alignment and a culture fit that is sort of what's made the company successful, you know, the last 30 years and kind of the path ahead.
And will continue to be successful, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Sean, we'll end with you. You know, we've talked a lot about support. We've talked a lot about, you know, helping, you know, private practice owners grow, but integration is such an important piece of this whole process. And, you know, you're going to be entering into this new role. So tell us, just end on a good note on, you know, how the company is really focusing on that integration piece and how we want to make sure that it's a smooth process and the importance to us with that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, kind of ties into kind of what you previously asked, and Mike and AJ, is that, you know, you've got, you know, these practice owners or that people that have sold into PRN, and they want to be able to do more, but they've had so much to do. You know, a lot of the practices that I've gone into recently, it's just like AJ was saying, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's just they kind of are able to relax and actually start treating patients. And part of the integration that we're doing is to make this as smooth as possible, a step-by-step process. And then we basically integrate and start that kind of culture change and understanding the EHR system, et cetera. And then we come back for support. But, you know, honestly, day one, you know, they're in constant contact with me at any point in time that they run into a barrier as they're going through this integration process. Because I think it's all about communication and taking away any of those little teeny barriers as you're going through this process. And it just allows them to relax and kind of, again, get back to the fun. And that's what it's all about, is being able to be fun, have a good time. You should enjoy coming to work. And you know, if growth is where you want to go, we're here to help you.
That's a great note to end on. Love it. So I want to just thank our panelists for sharing your thoughts and experiences. That was a great discussion, guys, as well as everyone on the call that's taken time to join us today. If anyone would like to discuss any partnership opportunities available at PRN, please email partners@prnpt.com. And Mike will be happy to follow up with you and answer any questions that you might have. And any clinical related questions, you know, feel free to email the same email address, and Sean will be happy to follow up and be sure to answer any questions that you have. Also, just receiving a note here, we did record the webinar, so we will be able to make that offer if you like the webinar. And again, that email address is partners@prnpt.com. And again, thanks again, everybody, for joining in the time, and everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Sean, Mike.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.